Hi everybody, it's me, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. It is a software technology that based on your high school athlete, their grades, their sport of choice, the level they can participate, and the area of the country they may be looking to participate at the collegiate level, we let them know all of the schools that they academically qualified to attend that offer their sport at that level, and then they can go ahead and do the further research to find the perfect fit school for them. And so we've sort of turned everything around. Instead of them going to these combines and showcases and viewing tournaments and hoping to be discovered, we want them to reach out to those schools that they know they already qualified for, tell them where they're going to be, and see if those schools are interested in them, and maybe they'll send someone out to see them. And so they're playing a different game than everybody else that's out there. This one will be interesting for me. You guys see the title, Money Back Guarantee. I've done softball, baseball, I've done volleyball, I've done gymnastics, I've done basketball, and I am going to be going next week to football 7-on-7 camp, and on the other side they're going to have girls flag, so this one's going to be interesting for me. The NAIA is really pushing flag football for girls as a growing area for them, as an emerging sport. What I'm finding almost everywhere I go, sometimes I'm talking with the parents because I'm bringing the software to someone and they want to make sure the parents are signed up correctly. Sometimes I talk to the parents, but now lately I've been talking just to the participants at the camps, and I got a couple more camps coming up in the next few weeks. Everybody's looking for this guarantee. They're looking for something to say, hey, if I do this, am I going to get this athletic scholarship? If I do this, am I going to be successful? Am I going to get it and that person's not? If I do this, am I going to make the varsity this year? Everyone's looking for this guarantee. There are no guarantees. And that's the beauty of it. And one of the things I'm really thankful for is that now, for the most part, I don't charge to access the software anymore. So I don't have to worry about anybody complaining. If you look down below, I give you a code. I give you the instructions for how to use the code. Now there's some limitations to what you can do on the different levels. Like for you guys, you're going to be able to do the full researches, but you have to be somebody that's looking for an athletic scholarship. We also have other ones, like we just introduced our new high school version, and for that one, even the kids that aren't trying to get athletic scholarships can still use our software. And then we have 4-year schools, 2-year schools, and even trade schools. And so we're trying to encourage more kids to play sports. But this guarantee thing is something that's really not novel. I think there's a guy named Josiah Wedgwood. I think he did this back in the 18th century, came up with this concept. A brilliant guy. I read a book about him years ago. When I started thinking about I'm going to do this business, I want to learn how to market, do all these things. So I always go way back. I get nerdy on stuff. But anyway, but what people are really trying to say is, what should I be doing to put myself in the best position? That's why I always talk to you guys about position and leverage. Let's talk about how do you put yourself in the best position to get where you want to be. And I think the one thing you want to do is, whatever sport you're playing, what is the main goal of that sport? So in basketball, the main goal is to put the ball in the basket so you can get points. It's all, how do you get points, I guess is the best way to put it. That's what you want to get good at. And then the idea, if you're not the most talented player out there, you want to get on the court, you want to play, you want to get on the field, you want to play, maybe you're not the most talented. So if the goal in basketball is to get on to make the basket, right, to put the ball in the basket, the goal really is for the team to get the ball in the basket, not the individual player. So if you're not the most talented player, you're not taking the most shots, you're not the most gifted at, you're going to be a three-point specialist, you can get to the hole, you can get fouled, get to the free throw line. There's different ways of putting the ball in the basket, but the goal is for the team to put the ball in the basket. So now maybe you set really good screens, or you're a great passer, or you can come to the high post, or whatever it is that you can do. And then the second piece of that is, how do you prevent the other team from scoring, right? So that's the opposite of it. But if you can figure out where you fit in, that's what I would concentrate on. So that's kind of that area of, and it doesn't matter what the sport. So if it's baseball, it's getting runs around, right? So maybe you can be a home run hitter, or maybe you're just a great contact hitter. You can advance people. Maybe you can steal bases and get yourself in position to score. There's all these different ways to contribute. You got to find your way to contribute. And so that's what I try to tell everybody. Look at your sport. What is the main goal of your sport? And then how do you help your team achieve that goal? And how do you prevent the other team, if you're playing in a competition, how do you prevent the other person from doing it? And sometimes it's an individual sport. Let's take a sport like golf. It's more of a mental approach too. How do you put enough pressure on the other people so they'll crack and you don't? So that's another phase of it. So there's all these different phases, but you want to be in position to, whatever the goal is for your sport, how do you get better and make yourself valuable? And whether it's in a team or an individual thing, how do you make yourself the best at making that happen? Now, that's the crux of what I try to get across when people ask me those questions. But I want to take this thing to a whole nother level. One of the things that I want us to do for AthleticSOS, I'm trying to move AthleticSOS in a different direction. Instead of trying to go out and get, I always tell you guys to go get training, right? Instead of going out to improve, I want you guys to evolve. And so what's the difference between improvement and involvement? Improvement is getting better, but evolving is making a change through process. It takes a little bit of time to do it. Here's the best way to do it. A caterpillar turns into a butterfly, right? It goes into a cocoon, and then it turns into a pupa, and then it merges. It's a beautiful butterfly. And so that is an evolution. There's a process that happens inside that cocoon. I'm not going through all of that, but you know what I mean. So you started out as this caterpillar, and it could be a beautiful caterpillar, right? But it turns into this even more beautiful, more amazing thing. That process, no one can really explain it. And that's what you want to be doing during the summer. So when you go back to your high school, they're going to say, oh my goodness, this kid is completely different. Now they could say, oh wow, he or she, they've really improved. I can see the change in them. That's really great. But what you'd want is, who is that kid? Is that the same kid that left here in June? Oh my goodness, this is a whole different player. That's what you want. That's what's going to take you to the next level, is that you've evolved into something completely different versus you've improved. So we want to get into that evolution period, that you're changing from what you were to who you're going to be. And that is the trick now that everyone's saying, that how do I do that evolving? But before I get to that, I want to get to another thing. So you're going to try to evolve. But here's the funny thing is, when we talk about, like I just talked about the butterfly, the caterpillar to the butterfly, what a amazing transformation, right? But what we're trying to do with AthleticSOS and with Sports Solution, which is the holding company for AthleticSOS, is I'm trying to change this game completely. And so if you think about it, you could be improving, you can be evolving your game, and then the next phase of this is evolving the whole game. So who are players that have evolved? I'm just going to do basketball. So for me, someone that evolved the game is somebody like Magic Johnson in basketball, right? So he's all of a sudden this 6'9" point guard, and it's a fast break. Fast break's been around. There have been tall players that can handle the ball a little bit, but he evolved the game into a more fast-paced game. He really changed basketball in a different way. Yes, there's been players that argument, nobody says Magic Johnson was the best player ever, anything like that. It's always Michael Jordan. Argument could be LeBron James. Kobe Bryant was in the conversation for a while. So, but those are great players, but did they change the game? And then another one for me would be Steph Curry. He completely changed how the game is playing. People are coming down and stepping one step inside of the half-court line and launching shot and making them, and it's okay. And you find kids doing that. That's an evolution in a game, and it's happened in other places. A good one for football is who's your Kansas City Chiefs quarterback? Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. That's evolution. No one's teaching what he's doing. He's taking the game and changing the whole thing. The play's broken up, nothing's there. He's throwing across the field, across his body. All the rules are being broken. You don't get away with that all the time, but that is, the game has changed. People are going to start looking for that. Ohtani in baseball, pitching and hitting. Now, the funny thing about that is Babe Ruth did this a long time ago. So it's not new, but it's new for us because everybody became specialists for a while. That was evolution. Like, you're going to be so good at this one thing. And that happened for a while. So you can improve your game. You can evolve your game. But if you're really talented, maybe you can evolve the whole sport and change how it's actually played and conducted. That would be the ultimate way of doing it. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do in business. How do you get from one to the other? We're trying to change the way youth sports moves. And one of a good example of this, well, I'm going to go back to the cocoon theory I just gave you a minute ago. So everyone knows about the butterfly, right? It's a beautiful thing. But what about the moth? The moth does the same thing, and nobody, because it's not colorful and bright and considered beautiful, people just sort of dismiss that. No one talks about that transformation that way. They always talk about the butterfly. But but one of the finest fabrics you can make is silk. That comes from a silkworm, which turns into a moth. So one of the things that we're trying to say for you guys, and what we're trying to do in Sports Solutions, and even with AthleticSOS, I want to take your kid, I want to take their talent, their sports acumen, and then I want them to take that and move that towards having a great life in general. So that silkworm leaves something behind that is more valuable than the beauty of the butterfly. I won't say it's more valuable, it's different. And so that metamorphosis leaves something behind that is used to make some of the finest garments that also become beautiful. And so there's different ways of doing things, I guess is the best way. So for your kid, I want to get every kid starting 5 years old that they're going to play a sport. And then they're going to play that sport to as far as they can. Oh, and so wherever they lay off, maybe they stop at age 13 and they never play at high school, but at least they played up to that point. And I want them to use those years to their advantage. And we're going to talk more about that in future conversations. But let's say you make high school and then you don't make varsity. Maybe you play frosh soft, maybe you get to JV, but you just didn't crack varsity. But then that's where you end. Maybe you end at your 11th grade, but you've used those years to your advantage. And we'll talk about that, like I said, in the future. But maybe you made varsity. And so you made varsity and you're playing a little bit, and maybe you get an opportunity to get an athletic scholarship, and now you're going on to college, and now you're going to play at the collegiate level. And maybe you do that, but you don't make the pros. Did you take advantage of that time period? And then maybe you're so good that you get to the pros. You're the transcendent person, right? You're going to go to the pros. At some point, it's going to end. All the way through that process, I want our kids to look at that as an advantage that they have that gives them some status, and they're going to take that and they're going to start helping other people. They're going to start building their network. They're going to start using it not just as I'm a great athlete and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and look at me, but you're using it to build building blocks on your self-discipline, for your ability to do teamwork, all of those kind of things. And by the time you get past the time that your playing days are over, you're moving to your next thing. One of the I won't say it's a sad thing. One of the things that I see a lot is former really high-level athletes, the careers ended and they seem lost for a few years. Now, sometimes they can snap out of it and they'll figure out which way to go. But it's like they're lost. I don't want that anymore. I want people to go into the sport. And I don't want people to get into the sport. And I see a lot of adults. Adults are dream killers, man. I got to tell you, we got to snap out of that. We will kill your kid's dreams so fast. And a lot of times as a parent, you just want to take care of your kid. You just want to make sure they're not in this fantasy land or something like that. But man, do we step on people. We're just the biggest wet blankets ever. And so I want parents to look at it not as this kid's got this dream. Let them go as far as they can go. But let's try to nurture it in a way where, okay, if we're going to take this journey, let's get something out of it so that when you're done with it, you're moving on to whatever you want to do next. And I think that's a better way to do it. Because oh my goodness, I'm almost amazed how parents will kill dreams and then they will go and spend their money on the people who follow their dreams. They'll go to music concerts in a minute. They'll go to professional games and college games. Those are kids that are living their dream, that went the extra step, that they did everything they need to do. So we'll reward them, but we tell our kid, no, that's not for you. Why in the world are you doing that? Anyway, so I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. So that's what we're kind of trying to, I want to get into you guys. You want to not just improve your game. I mean, that's great if you can improve. That's a good thing to do. But what you want to do is evolve your game. You want to come back as somebody completely different. I think the best example of that I've seen this in my real life is my daughter. I sent her to a camp. It was, back then it was called Point Guard College. I think it's PGC basketball right now. And I sent her to that camp, and that was on a suggestion of someone. I sent her to that camp. She came back from that camp, and she was playing her first summer league game with her school. And she had the ball, and she was coming down the court, and I saw the difference right away. And then even her coach, her high school coach goes, hey, what did you guys do this summer? What's going on? I go, listen, I sent her to this camp. I saw it too. And we were discussing. I go, and it's just a feel, the way she approached the game. It wasn't more confident. She was already a confident player. You know what it was? It was control. It felt like she was in control of what was going on. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that next week. And so those are the things that I'm recommending for you guys to try to do. So you guys are going to the camps and the showcases and the viewing tournaments. That's all cool. Some of you are going to camps. I also want you guys to get some training, but I want you to be in the mindset of when I get back to my high school or whatever I'm going to be doing in the fall. When I get back there, the people that knew me at the beginning before summer, do they see the same thing with just an improvement, or do they see an evolution in my game? And then as you get a little bit more into this, we're going to talk about, okay, how do we evolve the whole game? How do we change what we're doing to what's coming and not what's there now? And I'm doing the same thing in my business, right? We're creating an e-commerce, and I completely stopped everything we're doing as this starts to come into mind. Remember I talked to you guys a few weeks ago about vision training and cognitive training and things like that. I'm bringing all that together. So I want you guys to stick with me. We're going on this journey, and we're going to go together. I'm building my business, and you guys are watching me do this in real time. Numbers have gone through the roof. I'm getting speaking opportunities. I'm going all across, and I'm not traveling across the country to show the software, but I'm going all up and down. I'm going physically to places, and I'm watching this happen because my mindset is different than I just want to start a business. I just want to make money. I want to make a change. I want to evolve youth sports and how we move forward. And I'm working with some of the greatest people. I'm meeting the greatest people. I'm building my network. Everything I'm telling you to do, I'm doing too. I'm just doing it in business, and you guys are going to do it within your sport. And that's where we are with this thing. I'm having a great time doing it. I hope you guys will walk through this with me. Go through it with me, and I'll keep you guys abreast of what I'm doing business-wise. The e-commerce site is going to take a little longer because I want it to be evolving. I want it to be so different. I wanted to change the game. And so I stopped what I was doing, and I'm moving a different direction. I'd be excited to tell you guys about it. And in November, I'm doing a big show, and I'm going to tell you guys about that, where we're going to be. And if you can come down there, I would love for you to do that. But we're moving forward. I want you guys to do the same thing. Don't panic. Parents, do not panic. The software is yours to use. You can use the software even if you're just trying to get an athletic scholarship, period, and you're not worried about all this other stuff that we're doing. That's cool too. But if you want to go along with us on this journey, I really want you guys to go with us, and we'll move forward. So look down below, get the code, get the instructions for how to use the code, sign up for AthleticSOS, and go in there, find the schools that fit you. You want to go to the right fit. You want to find the opportunity, but you want to find the right opportunity for you, because you're going to take that, you're going to be in a great place, and then you're going to build on top of that for what you're going to do afterwards. That's where we're going with this thing. All right, guys, as always, best of luck to you guys, and best wishes for all your endeavors. And then we'll see you next week. Talk to you later. Bye.